The Oval Office, a room where history is made. On February 28, 2025, it became a crucible of conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy arrived with hope. He left with despair. The world watched in disbelief. Zelenskyy's mission was simple: secure a deal to extract and sell rare earth minerals. It was a lifeline for his war-torn nation. The potential deal promised economic recovery and a path to peace with Russia. But the meeting took a dark turn. President Donald Trump, joined by Vice President J.D. Vance, launched into a tirade. Accusations flew. Zelenskyy was blindsided. The carefully crafted diplomatic effort was shredded. The world held its breath. The future of Ukraine, and perhaps even the world, hung in the balance. At the center of the storm stood three men. Each represented different visions, different hopes, different fears. Donald Trump, the unpredictable showman, now in his second term. He campaigned on an America First platform. Now, he questioned the value of supporting Ukraine. J.D. Vance, the young, ambitious vice president. A firebrand nationalist, he saw Ukraine as a drain on American resources. He advocated for a swift end to the conflict, even if it meant concessions to Russia. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the former comedian turned wartime leader. He embodied the spirit of Ukrainian resistance. He came to Washington seeking support, not scorn. The stage was set for a confrontation. The stakes couldn't have been higher. The atmosphere in the Oval Office was tense, the mood brittle. The initial pleasantries were quickly abandoned. Trump, his frustration evident, questioned the billions in aid poured into Ukraine. He demanded results. He hinted at a quid pro quo, the minerals deal in exchange for continued support. Zelenskyy, caught off guard, defended his nation's struggle. He spoke of shared values, of the fight against tyranny. He insisted on Ukrainian sovereignty. Vance interjected. His tone was sharp, accusatory. He echoed Trump's sentiments, but with a sharper edge. He questioned Ukraine's commitment to fighting for its own freedom. The room crackled with tension. The meeting, originally planned for hours, was cut short. Zelenskyy was dismissed. The deal was dead. J.D. Vance's role in the Oval Office blow-up surprised no one. He had become the face of a new, assertive American foreign policy, one that prioritized American interests above all else. His speech at the Munich Security Conference had sent shockwaves through the international community. He questioned the value of NATO and criticized European reliance on American military might. Just weeks before, he had clashed with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The topic was Ukraine. Vance's stance was clear: cut off aid, force a peace settlement, and let Europe deal with the consequences. Vance's rise to power signaled a shift in American politics. His willingness to confront allies and dismiss traditional notions of global leadership sent a chilling message to the world. Section 5, Fault Lines in Washington, Echoes Around the World. The fallout from the Oval Office confrontation was immediate. Shockwaves ripped through Washington and reverberated around the globe. Republicans were divided. Trump loyalists applauded his tough stance. Moderate voices, however, expressed concern. They saw the president's actions as reckless and damaging to America's reputation. Democrats were united in their condemnation. They accused Trump and Vance of abandoning a key ally and emboldening Vladimir Putin. The incident became a flashpoint in the already polarized political landscape. Internationally, the reaction was a mixture of disbelief and anger. European leaders, long accustomed to American leadership, felt betrayed. They scrambled to assess the implications for their own security. The world watched, stunned, as the old order crumbled. Section 6, Zelenskyy's impossible choice. Back in Kiev, Zelenskyy faced an impossible choice. The collapse of the minerals deal was a devastating blow. His nation, already reeling from 3 years of war, was now staring into an economic abyss. The message from Washington was clear: fend for yourselves. The promise of unwavering American support had been broken. Zelenskyy was forced to confront a grim reality. Could Ukraine survive without American aid? His options were limited, each more unpalatable than the last. Seek a negotiated settlement with Russia, likely on Putin's terms? Or fight on, alone and increasingly outmatched, clinging to the hope of a miracle? The weight of his nation, and the hopes of millions, rested on his shoulders. Section 7. A reckoning for American foreign policy. The Oval Office showdown marked a turning point in American foreign policy. The era of American global leadership, already under strain, seemed to be coming to an end. The Trump administration's America First agenda had always prioritized American interests above all else. But the confrontation with Zelenskyy exposed the true cost of that approach, the abandonment of allies and the erosion of American credibility. The world watched with a mix of apprehension and resignation as America turned inward. The implications were profound. Would this retreat from global engagement embolden authoritarian regimes? Would it lead to a more chaotic and dangerous world? The answers to these questions remained unclear, but one thing was certain: the world was entering a new and uncertain era. Section 8. The future of freedom itself. The stakes in Ukraine went far beyond the fate of a single nation. It was a battle for the very soul of Europe, a struggle between democracy and authoritarianism. For 3 years Ukraine had stood as a bulwark against Russian aggression. Its people had fought bravely, enduring unimaginable hardship. They had done so with the support of the United States and its allies. But the Oval Office showdown raised a chilling question. If America was willing to abandon Ukraine, what message did that send to other democracies facing threats from authoritarian regimes? The world was watching. The future of freedom itself hung in the balance. Section 9. A world on edge. The images from the Oval Office were stark, unsettling. The angry words, the shattered expectations, the palpable sense of betrayal. They painted a picture of a world on edge. The post-World War II order, built on a foundation of American leadership and a commitment to democratic values, was crumbling. In its place, a new world was emerging, one defined by uncertainty, instability, and a retreat from global engagement. The Oval Office showdown was a wake-up call. It was a reminder that the world was a dangerous place, and that the future of freedom was far from assured. It was a call to action, a plea to defend the values that had made the world a more peaceful and prosperous place. The world held its breath. The stakes were higher than ever before.